Who? How we doing, folks? It's Sunday night, and guess what? It's Audio Who for your listening delight. We are back with the First Doctor, aka William Hartnell, aka Richard Hurdnell, aka Welcome David Bradley. And the audio, there we go, there's the cover there. Audio Adventures, Volume 1, Story Number 1, entitled Destination Wars. We have the planet of destination. We have their local people. We have the Dalmari, a unique alien species who appear to be like dogs to me, but I'm still not too quite sure. We have the arrival of Ian, Susan, Barbara, and the First Doctor to this colony. And we have the arrival of the Inventor, who is later revealed to be someone else who we are all familiar with from the Pertwee era of Doctor Who. What do you think about this? You're about to find out, but before we get to that, now let's get to this. It's your panel for this evening. Joining us from Tottenham, it's Philip. How are you doing, Phil?
Good evening and welcome to the show.
Indeed, yes. For all 4 of these that watch, good to see you. All the way from the inner sanctum of his own bedroom. Sorry for starting late, Jake. How are you, mate?
I'm fine. Welcome to my dominion.
Indeed, yes. Hello, you. And all the way from Mass, it's Sue. How are we doing, Sue?
Well, happy and glad that we're doing Susan Foreman.
In some form, yes, we are. All the way from the Thunder, he has down under. It's Monday morning. How are we doing, AJ?
Good, guys, and freshly brewed coffee.
Indeed. There you go. All the way from Techico, Corpus Christi. He has a beard that must be fair. Texas Tim Wells. How are we doing, Tim?
Sweating and smiling.
Indeed, it's still summer. And of course, from NYC, Mr. Juan Medina. Well, how's the Comets?
Hey now, how you doing, everybody?
Good to see you, mate. So, guys, yeah, we have an experiment thing here whereby Big Finish decided to, I don't want to use the term reboot, but I'll use the term reimagine the First Doctor with regards to bringing in David Bradley to reprise his role from Once Upon a Time, along with his co-stars from An Adventure in Space and Time. You'll still have, Peter Purvis and co. Then the stick with regards to the First Doctor Companion Chronicles, but when it comes to the First Doctor main range, you'll have, for the foreseeable future, David Bradley and his co-stars from Adventures in Space and Time. So with that being said, we have the planet of destination, we have the Dalmari, we have the local folk, we have an inventor who is essentially the first incarnation of Roger Delgado's master in the guise of James Dreyfus. What do you think about this? Let's find out. Okay, well, the destination was David Bradley and co. What do you reckon?
It's not a bad. It's a good story because, of course, like you said, it introduces the first incarnation of the master, which is unusual because we haven't, us either readers or anything, have never knew anything what happened, if anything, to his earlier incarnation, if he did anything at all. Mm-hmm. So it turns out he'd been troublemaking since his first incarnation, and that makes it that's why this story is pretty good. And of course, he takes advantage of survivors from maybe Earth like that, and of course, and
not the Earth, but the like.
The ancestors like that.
Yeah. And
then, of course, and starts a war with the primitive that originated from that planet. Mm-hmm. Just for him could advance their technology, where he could have atomic energy, where he could leave the planet and go his own merry way. Because he's so freaking lazy, he can't do it on himself. Mm. So that's the thing about it. Now the character that see in this story. They get along pretty good with each other and with the cast here. That stands out very good. Mm-hmm. Of course, when we're going to talk about the main cast of how they did playing the roles made over 50 years ago, we get into that. But I gotta have to give this story stands out pretty good as a doctor facing somebody from Gallifrey, which is the master. That stands out pretty good.
I'll give you that. Casting aside, this is a good Doctor Who master story. Okay, Phil, you're, I don't want to say the word disdain, but you're,
No, do you know what though, Graham? You
Yeah.
know what? This is the first time I've actually sat through the story without no distractions and paid real good attention to it.
okay.
I bloody enjoyed it. Put aside my gripes about Bradley. Can you stop pinging, Jake?
Well, turn,
Put aside my little disdain of Bradley's doctor.
yeah.
It's a good cracking story. And you know what? That girl that plays Susan, what's her
What
name?
do you reckon?
The actress that plays Susan,
Who played Susan in this again? Sorry, my bad.
Claudia Grant.
Claudia!
Yeah, Claudia Grant gets to do a lot of things in this. Her character grows in leaps and bounds in this story because she's more than just a screamer, and I like it how they put her what they get to do.
If you include the Cushion movies, she's Susan 3.0. So
Yes, okay, fair enough. Elijah, stop. Oh, anyway,
turn off your browser, Phil.
I have.
Who's pinging?
It's Elijah, but it's from the Windows 10 part of it. Which I
Alright,
think,
fair okay, so you enjoyed it. That's good.
yeah, it's cracking good.
Timbo, a reimagining, a new cast. What do you reckon?
It was all right. It wasn't bad. I mean, I think the idea that they're gonna, like you said, reimagine and look back at this is how it was, or this is, and so you've got this new cast that really was only made available because of that Mark Gatiss film.
Yeah.
I mean, in other words, that gave them the idea to do this, and it gives them a way of making more First Doctor stories without using the usual companion chronicle or early adventures way of doing it. And I tend to like those stories better, but I think that this is a way of having full cast First Doctor Who, and it doesn't have to be. It doesn't have to sound exactly like, you know, Hartnell or anybody in the cast. You can get by with this group because we've all seen them as stand-ins for these characters. So it works out pretty well. I particularly like the sound design on this story, though. I mean, I thought the story itself was kind of so-so, but the sound design was pretty incredible. Yeah. And it seemed like they were trying to go for that First Doctor sound with all the electronic music and whatnot. But and the Master was very good. I could have sworn that was Derek Jacobi, though. I guess I was wrong.
No, and I'll come to him later because he fucking shocked the hell out of me, and I'll tell you why once I get to my point. And look, Phil's laughing; he knows why. Okay, AJ, Destination Wars. What do you reckon?
I enjoyed the story. I thought it was a very pleasant mixture of classic and new Who, sort of all into one within the story itself. Like how it starts off and they think it's the future.
Yeah.
You know, with flying cars and all that, because people back then thought flying cars was going to be a thing like in less than 50 years. So I just like the whole concept, you know, it stuck to that sort of 60s tradition. The Master in this was actually really, really well done. My question is, though, is he younger than the Doctor, or are they the same age?
Actor-wise, yes. Gallifreyan-wise, but yeah.
Technically, did not the series imply that they grew up together?
Yeah.
In other words, they've been friends, enemies since they were children, so they are the same age, regardless of which body they happen to be wearing.
Yeah, there you go. I'll give you that, Tim. Yep.
Okay, my bad. But the one thing I enjoyed of the story is where they go to the Inventor's workshop, and it basically they give the idea that it's Willy Wonka's chocolate factory from the outside.
Very good analogy. Yeah.
That's what I thought. So yeah.
Yeah. Very good analogy, especially when it came to Rena. She was basically Charlie in this story for me. Good analogy, mate. Well, what do you reckon? You reimagine it for you?
I already did. That was the first one.
Oh, wait, who did I miss?
You missed
Jake, sorry.
You missed Jake and Susan.
Sorry, no, go Jake. Sorry, my bad.
I absolutely adored this story. Like, I was incredibly excited for this story. I went into this set, but it's basically impressions to me. It's people impersonating the cast. It's like caricatures. So they didn't take it too seriously as that, like an original, like it's meant to be set in the 60s sort of thing, if you get what I mean. So it's basically people doing these impressions. And I thought I did a bloody good job, like characterising their individual characters. The only one I struggled with was Claudia Grant as Susan. And even in the new set, I'm still struggling with her a bit because it just didn't really sound like Susan to me. But David Bradley takes it in his stride in this audio. And James Dreyfus, I agree with what Tim said. He does sound like Derek Jacobi, but he was so incredible in this story. For me, I think he personally stole the show. Like when he sees Susan, like, hello, my dear, it's been ever such a long time. It builds history that we've always known the Doctor and the Master have. They build up on it, which I really liked, and I thought it was a really good idea to have the Master with the first Doctor, because it sort of set up what's to come sort of thing. And that's it from me.
Good commentary there, mate. Susan?
Yeah, so I listened to it again, and I'm still under the impression that Claudia Grant isn't alien enough for Susan, but I really liked the James Dreyfus's performance as the Master, and I love how how deep and rich the history was of this people group that he's manipulated, and David Bradley started off the thing. I think one of his first lines was "Chesterton" or something like that, and so I mean he totally, he kept up the continuity of not getting Ian's name right, and so that was fun, and so I really enjoyed this. But Susan Claudia needs to make some decisions to make Susan more alien.
Okay, well maybe that's something they'll tackle when the main story's down the road with the boxes. For me, David Bradley was fine. People have got issues with the pitch and the tone of his voice. What can you do? This is a reimagining, folks. You're not always going to get what was on screen. For me, at the start of this fucking story was James Dreyfus, and it fucking blows my fucking mind, because for those of you that don't know, James Dreyfus is a comedic actor from the UK who basically starred in a lot of comedies for the early to late 90s to the early 2000s, who plays, now I know camp, over the top isn't a word that isn't distances when it comes to the Master, but when you know James Dreyfus' style of acting, it's completely camping over the top, even for the fucking Master. So, yeah, fair play to him. He took the role, he ran with it, and it just sounded so maniacal, so menacing, and I hold my hands up and say, well done, sir. Yeah.
Well, obviously you're saying he could have played it the complete opposite way if he wanted to. He could have went over the top camp.
Well, he could have played it the way James Dreyfus normally plays a part, basically, and he didn't. He totally flipped it, and so
around. It was the pitching of his Master was perfect. Even down to the menacing lower parts when he's really meaning what he means, and you just think, the
majority of parts he plays, he's basically a queer eye for the straight guy. He's got the,
And he bordered on Delgado's performance. I agree.
So fair play, well done, sir, and you're welcome back anytime. Who played Rena? Well,
Rena was played by Delay Seagal.
She was a wee bit annoying in part one, but when you had the time jump at the end of part two, she was a lot more bearable.
She grew up.
Yeah.
The hard way.
she was a lot more bearable when the time jump came around, when you had the whole atom thing and the revelation as to what the plan was. So, good stuff. Tabak and his wife. Well.
Tabak?
Yeah. Runa's father.
I don't see his name. Hold on. I mean, Roback.
Roback, sorry, my bad. Yeah.
Raymond Cold Hard. Yep. And Tana is Cyan Reeves.
That's where I get mixed up. Tana. Okay, yeah, there we go. So, yeah, they were fine. Runa's mother, obviously, she was skeptical. She was the Inventor's word was law, all the rest of it. But that's all she knew. So, yeah, and the father ended up being a red shirt by the time part 3 came around. So, not bad, but James Dreyfus fucking stole this, and I will never say anything bad about that guy again, even when I go and watch all the episodes of Gimme. Okay, Philip. Cafe Buck notwithstanding, any events or circumstances that stood out with you?
Of course, as we all say, Mr. Dreyfus stole the whole show away from me. Do you know what? The woman that plays Barbara, she didn't get much to. She didn't stand out very much in the story.
What? Sorry, my apologies. Well, refresh my memory. Who played Barbara for Adventure in Space and Time?
Gemma Powell.
Okay.
Okay, well, Gemma Powell then. She seems to be in the background for the most part. The only time she stood out for me was when they were wrestling the Master in the TARDIS and tying him up and doing all sorts of it.
To be fair, Barbara doesn't tend to stand out in a lot of stories. And that's not a slant on. That's not a slant on Barbara. That's just the writing at the time.
Unless she's being a badass.
Well, yeah. I mean, you had the, you had a few stories in the early episodes. You know what the
Aztecs.
The Aztecs, yeah. So
I kind of like the little nod to what story was it? Claws of Exos, when the Master was in the Doctor's TARDIS, this all junkyardy type. He's like, what's he trying to be doing this junk machine? He did the same thing with the first Doctor's TARDIS when he got in and he's trying to get it to work and it won't work, and it's all kind of. So I like that little nod that he brought back.
Okay.
And also, the fact that he's using hypnotism a lot is a nice nod too. But I wish he had his little shrinking gun. That would have been nice to be used.
Well, you had the shrink.
He had it, but he didn't use it.
Delgado was fond of the hypnotism. Ainley was fond with the shrinking gun. Well, I mean,
Yeah, fair enough.
Yeah. AJ, what do you reckon, Ben? Anything to stand out?
Just the whole idea of the Master trying to get away by setting off a bomb. I mean, that's so... Master.
1960s?
No, so Master. You know, just basically everyone else is expendable. It's all about him, more or less. Just the one thing about James Dreyfus, so he did play in Sarah Jane Adventures.
He did, yes.
And he was also in another Doctor Who audio too. So
which one?
The Cats of New Cairo.
Who was that? Oh, where?
What's it called?
New Earth, isn't it?
It's New Earth story.
Oh, the New Earth. Okay, I've not heard that. Okay, well, okay, right, got this.
So yeah, but
it's a spin-off tale, right? Well,
yeah, just the whole thing with the Master, he was brilliant, I thought too.
Yeah, as I say, he stunned the fuck out of me, and I will never doubt. I'll not just scoff and say, "Oh fuck, no, him again." I know a lot of people can be guilty of that, especially on the internet. So fuck you, people. Timbo, anything stand out?
Well, just how many Masters does it make now? I mean, for the because this is
good fucking question.
I mean, this is not a new one for Big Finish.
That's the second one for Big Finish.
Yeah.
Yeah, because you got that baldy one in it.
No, it'd be the third. There's another one as well.
Well, they also managed to bring back Jacoby lately as well.
There are 14 Masters now, I think.
Hang on. I don't want to start a fucking argument here, but that depends if you believe that fucking Delgado was the 13th of the first cycle. So,
anyway, the reason it's interesting is because, I mean, I don't know, no, that's off topic, never mind. I don't know, in defense of the lady that played Susan, I thought she did okay. I thought she sounded like somebody that was trying to sound like her. Yeah, and was actually a bit too posh sounding, the way she would say things.
I'll give you that. Yeah,
it was almost like a cartoon version, if you wanted to say. That's what I got. But that's what I thought about the whole thing. It being the best word you used is reimagining, because what they're doing is trying to give you the feels of that time, and they do a pretty good job with it. Even though none of the actors really sound 100% like. I mean, the guy Glover doesn't sound anything like.
No, but
he's just stand-in guy basically.
Glover. Is it John or Julian? What's his name again? Sorry.
John Glover.
John Glover. Okay, yep.
Is it John Glover? Oh, okay, yeah.
But you get my point. He's not trying to sound like.
Well, I just say we've just had the second volume released, and volume 3 will indeed include Caravan Falls. So are we getting two Susans, or are we getting something completely different? We'll find out.
Well, I think it was an interesting choice, because a lot of the complaints were at first, why didn't they just get Carol Ann to do it? But I think they want to utilize this alternate cast, so it doesn't tie directly to the other works that they've done with the real actors. You know what I'm saying?
It's Jamie Glover.
Jamie Glover.
Jamie Glover. Okay.
You could
all right,
call
thanks, Timbo. Jake, have a stand up?
I like the James Dreyfus Master, but as much as I love the fact that he was evil, the more I think about it, I'd have liked this if the Master was like good for half the story, and like the things that are happening around him sort of manipulated him to become evil. So like, this could have been the first story, or like the origins of why he became the Master, sort of thing. I thought that would have been nice, but I like the direction.
They kind of touched upon that with Master.
I like the direction they went down, though, in this story. And I'd like it for Big Finish to talk about other Masters that we haven't seen, because they released a book recently, a Missy book, where that she has mentioned other incarnations of the Master, and even she doesn't know what order her own incarnations are in. So I think that would be nice to see these more incarnations. What happened between Dreyfus and maybe Believe Delgado or whoever's in between.
Well, okay, as of right now, you've had 2 Masters on Big Finish, and you've had, what, 4 or 5 on TV? So, whatever. We'll see what happens. Well, I never stand out.
Well, what stand out, because with the 2 ladies, how they got along real good, and then they used their thinking process.
Oh, Rena and Susan, yep.
Yeah, you know, especially when the Master left with the Doctor's TARDIS, and they stood in with the Doctor and took apart whatever the Master had left, and of course helped the Doctor change the robots so it could work for them and not for the Master.
Yeah.
So that was a great idea right there. Yeah, even though you know, they sound a little bit not like you know, Barbara and anything like that, but they stood out pretty good, you know, because she was able to help him get out of his hypnosis and get tied up the Master to bring him back, you know, to the Doctor like that. So that was pretty good. That stood out.
Okay. Cool. And for myself, it's all about James Dreyfus for me.
Can I do my bit?
You may. Just go for it.
Thanks. I just wanted to say that my favorite moment was the Master stealing the Doctor's TARDIS again.
There you go.
And I really liked how Susan was. I liked how Susan was utilized in the story. So, and more Susan.
Yes, we know. Susan everywhere. Nothing wrong with that. And as I alluded to, James Dreyfus stole it from me. Although, to be fair, I will give prop to the character of Rena. In part 1, you initially assumed she was one of these characters who would be difficult to convince in terms of what was going on around about her, but she proved a lot more intelligent than part 1, the younger kid that Rena anticipated. And by the time the 12-year jump happened, she was well on board and willing to embrace everything. So fair play to her. Her mother was a bit of a stubborn bitch, but you could see a reason why. Came to your people, believing the Inventor, aka the Master. So,
do you know those young protagonists, the monsters,
the service bots?
Yeah, no, the other one, the
Damaris, the aliens.
The Damari, yeah.
Yeah, the Damari. They every time I heard them, they reminded me of those monsters, creatures in the 7th Doctor story, the Death Eaters or the Just Something. Do you remember them? The ones that take your... I can't remember what they're called.
I don't know, man. No.
Oh, God, I can't remember them. But they sounded so much like them, though. And that's what kept...
Okay. Fair enough. And at that point, lads, as we are rapidly running out of time here, we might have to start on a fucking call to end this. Open mic portion of the cast. Anything else you want to bring up before we get this rated in the can?
Well, I would just say quickly that one cool thing they did that was reminiscent of the time, or the time that they're reimagining, is they end the story on a cliffhanger that's part of the next story.
Yes.
Having Ian walk out and get shot or whatever happens to him. Yes. You won't find out until next week, just like it used to be.
Indeed.
Back in those days, if you were a kid watching Doctor Who in the early to late 60s, you didn't know how long the story was going to be that you were watching. You didn't know if it was a 3-part story, a 7-part story, because they all had separate titles. And this is just like that. I mean, they end it on a cliffhanger. So you have to tune in next week.
True William Hartnell fashion, where stories run into one another based on a loose thread at the end of every episode. Nothing wrong with that whatsoever. You're slap bang in that era, even though it's different actors playing the part. And the story's spliced right in there. So why not? Anything else, guys?
For me, I like when the Master was pretending to be the Doctor over the sound system, and he puts on an old man voice as well, despite the fact that he's got a voice filter.
Yep. The valve starter helps. Anything else, guys? Nope. Well, as time ticks by, it's that time again.
FYI, to remember the countdown has begun that you're going to lose your woman when you lose your job.
There you go. Fuck you, hooker. Destination was The First Doctor Adventures, David, Volume 1, Story Number 1. David Bradley, Jamie Glover, Claudia Christensen, and who played Barbara?
Gemma Powell.
Gemma Powell. Yeah, my bad. Okay, Timbo, what do you get out of 10? What do you reckon? How do you reckon the reimagining started off?
Well, I think it was a good start. It was fun. It was entertaining. I would give it a 9. I mean, that's all you can ask of it.
Excellent. Kick, what do you reckon, mate?
I will give this a masterful 9 out of 10. I really enjoyed this story.
Champion, James Dreyfus on the wall. AJ, what's the number from down under?
I'm going to give this a 9. It was a very good reimagining of the First Doctor era.
Okay, good stuff. Susan, what do you reckon for Susan?
I'll give it a 9 out of 10. I still want to pull it down from a 10 because of Susan, but Susan.
Okay, there we go. Squeal. Philip, what's the number for Tottenham, mate?
All because of James Dreyfus, Master, and of course the story around it and everybody else in it. I'm going to give it a 10 because I loved it.
Holy fuck! I thought you couldn't stand Bradley. What the hell happened?
No, but the story was...
Don't argue.
To be
all right, I'm not arguing. Okay. For me, mainly because of James Dreyfus and the cast done the very best, and we're no bad ensemble of a story. I'll get an 8.5 out of 10. I'll be the cunt this evening. I'll get the lowest rating.
I don't think you got William.
Oh, holy shit! My apologies, mate.
I'm gonna give it a 9 out of 10, and I hope either this doctor or another doctor shows up to Planet Destination to see how they develop. Since now they'll be using atomic energy, so that'd be interesting.
Well, there you go. Never mind Chris Eccleston and his shitty companion chronicle. Well, wants another sequel. So, yeah. Make it happen, like Briggs. And with that done, finito and in the can, we will basically just say, yes, we are done. And we will simply say, what we're doing next week. Phil, what we're doing next week?
I fucking forgot. So
it's the second Doctor story. It's a companion chronicle. It is called...
I don't know.
Dumb Waiter.
Yes, speaking of being dumb, it's called Dumb Waiter. It is Fraser Hines. It is Louise Jameson with the second Doctor and Leela. I've not heard this one yet, so we'll see how it goes. And we look forward to that. Please check out our buddies in the Wackety Wonder World of the YouTube. You've got the guys and dolls that get assembled with their TV, audio, and movie reviews. You've got Dr. Freedom, his news broadcasts, and his Omega files as well as the Adventures of Dr. Freedom Eric. Let's share, comment, subscribe, thumbs up, thumbs down. It's Sunday night. We're getting the fuck all on out of here. It's time for Preacher, Castle Rock, and whatever the fuck we've got to watch.
Oh, yeah.
And
Preacher, baby.
Exactly. Preacher as well. Take care of yourself, folks, and each other. We're on out of here, and we'll see you next week. Fuckity bye.
Fuckity bye.